You don't want to have a bad day. After I got there and got in the training hall, it felt good and it was exciting. And getting in the competition, once I got in the back room, it was so much fun. And just lifting there and getting a total, and it just was awesome. Everything was just so rewarding, just being able to be in those facilities in Tokyo and to be able to do that. It was really an honor. But again, it was very hard and very stressful, and my mind and body definitely took a toll.
Yeah.
But I mean, 100% worth it.
Welcome to episode number 31. I am your host, Sebastian ENGSTROM, and today, Wes Kitts joins me. He is an Olympian, more specifically in Olympic weightlifting. He competed at the Olympics here in Tokyo. We go into his training, his journey, how he got into it, and representing Cal Strength. What is it really like there? What does training look like? What does his food look like? Habits and so forth. You'll hear all about his journey. Please enjoy the conversation with Wes. And if you haven't done so, in order to help us spread this message, if you like this show, if you want to help us, I truly appreciate it. If you scroll down on Apple, hit 5 stars. It takes you 5 seconds. Thank you for doing so. Hit subscribe or like if you're on another platform. Even leave a review. That's freaking phenomenal if you can do that. That helps us tremendously. Thank you for doing so and enjoy the show. Wes Kitts, incredible to have you on. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to do it.
Yeah. So we were chatting it up. And before we get into your story, for anyone who doesn't know, I'll share my brief on who Wes Kitts is. He is a badass who turned from heavyweight Olympic weightlifting, turned from a football pro to heavyweight Olympic weightlifting. I mean, I don't know anyone who has done that. That's pretty damn hard, like in my opinion. Like usually if you make it to become a Pan American champion and go to the Olympics, like you've lifted for a long damn time. So damn, hats off to you and whatever has driven you to get to where you are today. But there's more to you, Wes. Like, how would you describe yourself? Who are you and what do you do in this world?
I mean, honestly, I'm just a guy that loves going to the gym, and I've been this way for a really long time. I got into just exercising when I was pretty young. My dad sort of encouraged me and showed it to me, and I just always loved it. I liked going to the gym. I liked getting some really sore. I mean, probably doing way too much. Like even as a little kid, like
Yeah,
I'd be on AIM, like telling my buddies how sore my abs are, and just like this freaky stuff. But I've always loved it. It definitely helped me in my athletic pursuits, and I love team sports probably even more than working out. It doesn't matter if it's like a game of softball with my buddies or the adult league soccer or whatever. I can go and play, and I'm typically too competitive. but I've been working on it. I've been working on that. Anyways,
in
in
a short summary, like who you have Knoxville on your shirt there. Like, what if you would describe yourself in a few sentences? How would you describe yourself? Who are you?
I'm just a guy from East Tennessee that loves Tennessee and loves sports.
And you're a husband, you're a father, right? And what else is there to you?
So I recently had a son in March 2021. His name's Blaze. I am a husband. I got married the same year. I moved out to Cal Strength, and that's a whole can of worms we can get into as well.
Yeah.
But I knew I always wanted to be a dad and like a family guy, but now it's my favorite thing. My wife's pregnant again, and
oh wow, congrats, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. But I was absolutely just thrilled to find out she was pregnant again, and she was a little bit concerned.
Okay.
It's a little close, not ideal, but anyways, that's just two more things I found in this life that I love is being a dad and having a family and
Yeah.
being in my hometown. I getting back here with my son has just been awesome. Where my wife and I moved, we've got basically three of Blaze's great grandmothers live within like 3 miles of our house.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
and
incredible.
it really, I mean, it is, and all the time he's got his grandparents come to visit, or we go to the grandparents and our friends that we grew up with that we'll go see. So just the amount of support, that you have in a hometown. I love being back in Knoxville and
Yeah.
really happy to have moved back.
Yeah. So Blaze got to be the coolest boy name I've ever heard, man. Like, I've never heard that. So,
I wish I could take credit for it. My wife and I we're going back and forth, the whole time she's pregnant. What are we going to name him? Because neither of us are very decisive.
yeah.
Like the more permanent something is, the harder it is for me to commit to what
Mm,
it's going to be. Whether it's like if I'm going to buy something that I'm going to keep for a long time, or naming a kid. Any of these like pretty permanent decisions. I always struggle with them because I want to do all the research. I want to make sure it's right. That take way too long, and even when I feel good about it, it's hard for me to jump in. But anyways, we've been going back and forth, and she's the same way. And finally, she texts me. She says, "What do you think about Blaze?" I was like, "That's his name."
yeah.
We're
Nice.
done.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think she saw a commercial, some kind of makeup or something in it. It just looked like Blaze. It was actually I think the company was like Blase, or maybe it was just
Sure.
like in the commercial or something. But she's like, Blaze kind of looks cool, and sends it
Yeah.
to me. I'm like, yep, that's his name.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
going.
Nice.
So
So
anyways, now we
the
got to name a second.
yeah, and I was just gonna ask you about the ideas for that, but I don't want to pry too much, and that might be like a I don't know gender reveal, name reveal. Yes, I don't know. Okay.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I'm staying more on the fire explosion theme type
Yeah.
names,
Yeah. I
and
like that.
she wants to get away from it. So
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Maybe
we're going back and forth again.
Viper, Flame. I don't know. There are a few ideas that
There was a really funny meme. I can't remember who made it, but it was a clip from that movie Dodgeball where Ben
Mhm.
Stiller's introducing his dodgeball team. And
Mm.
it's like Blazer, Laser. It just keeps. The meme
Nice.
said Westkitt's naming his kids or something, but I
Yeah.
was crying laughing at that. But yeah, anyways, we haven't decided yet.
Okay. So rewinding the tape slightly, going back to you saying you always like to work out. Like where does this come from in the very first place? You mentioned your dad. Was that where it came from, or was it something else?
Yeah, so I don't know. I always liked I like the superhero cartoons and like Johnny Bravo, like all the like
Mhm.
big, like muscly dudes. And there was actually some pictures of my dad when he had done a bodybuilding show in his 20s that he kept hidden, but mom had got him out and shown to me. But he was just like ripped out of his mind, like just shredded. And I was like, even from a little kid, I was like, well, I want to look like that, because you can like now it's
Uh,
possible.
yeah.
So anyways, before I'd even ever like exercised, I was like, I wanted to, like, I don't know. I basically had body
Yeah.
dysmorphia.
Yeah.
I'm
Sure.
like, yeah, I'm like a preteen that wants to have a 8-pack abs and veiny arms and stuff. So, but
Mm.
anyways, I'd seen those pictures and I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to work out." He wanted me to wait a little while so I was a little older and I could like, exercise properly. So I was probably 11 or 12, and he showed me like some basic things, some curls, some squats, how to like press a little bit,
Mhm.
just easy stuff. We had a lat pull down in the basement that had
Mhm.
a seated row as well, so you could do a good little workout split in our house. So
Nice.
um I just started going down there whenever I felt like it, and I played a lot of sports. I'd play soccer and baseball, and these things would like overlap. And I played basketball, and I was really little, but I was terrible. Even though I still love to play basketball, and I'm still terrible. Anyways, so, there's always like a sports season or two teams going, and I was always running around doing these. But sometimes I'd be at the house, I'd go do a workout. Like it was just always something that he told me would help me with my athletics, so I knew I should do it, and I kind of liked doing it because I wanted to be jacked and ripped and
Yeah.
swole, yeah, veiny. So
Sure.
it was just like, I don't know, it was almost like it was just woven into my DNA as I was growing up. Like you're supposed to go to the gym and lift weights, and men are big and tough and veiny, and obviously
Sure.
now it's I realize that that's maybe not everybody's passion, but it's what I like. And even even when I'm in a weightlifting off season, I'm still hitting my buddies up like, hey, what are you doing today? Can I jump in your workout?
Huh.
Not like I go around to see all my friends in Knoxville and just jump into whatever they're doing. So it's just something I'm passionate about. In college, I couldn't get out of the weight room. I'd work out with the football team, and we didn't do a lot of like arms or like bodybuilding type splits. So
Uh-huh.
I'd head off to the rec center, and I'd do like my own workout. I'd take some pre-workout, get a arm pump, and do some extra bench or whatever, because my bench is is my worst lift in college. So I was working on it, and it never seemed to help. So I kept working on it. But yeah, I don't know. So I just got a bug. I
Yeah.
just can't get enough.
It almost reminds me like of a movie or something like that. You're feeling like, hey, you got a workout today? Let me try that workout, buddy. Come on. What do you got for me?
I
I
mean, that's
yeah.
exactly what it is, honestly.
Yeah. And I mean that in I hear you and I feel you because I'm very similar. It's just my body. I don't think my body can handle the same type of massive stress that I think you can put yourself under. I remember this is one guy just ripped out of his mind when I played college football in at Central Oklahoma. He, as you would, we would hit some grueling freaking workouts because all we had was 40 minutes to get everything in. So we did almost, I mean, this is one person was lifting, so we did it in sets of, so one person lifting, the other person is spotting, whatever, resting, and then you switch, no rest in between, and just back and forth, back and forth. And especially legs, like if you're doing like death marches and doing lunges, and sometimes we did crazy stuff like that, you're gassed out and you're almost passed out and you're seeing stars and you're just wondering if you're going to make it through it. I mean, it was brutal. On
Yeah.
top of that, we did sprints right in the morning, especially in the off season, and then the guy would go and do his own freaking 1 or 2 hours at the rec center, just like you. I'm like I can barely move. Like, what? So you just felt fine? Like, were you overtrained or how? Yeah, what happened?
So basically, the workouts we do, a lot like yours, we do a lot of squats, cleans, lunges. We do like the full body stuff.
Yeah.
So and we'd press too. So sometimes we do incline bench press. But we didn't do a lot of the bodybuilding type stuff. And that's the stuff that I just kind of like to do. It's pretty easy. You just throw some headphones in,
Mm,
take some caffeine, and you can go do arms or shoulders or back.
yeah.
So even though my legs were smoked, I might limp from like dumbbell to machine or whatever.
Yeah.
But my upper body was always like ready to take a little more abuse. So I just well, like I said, I just liked it. I don't know. Like if my biceps weren't sore, they needed to be. That's how I felt in college. But I couldn't like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of hard to overtrain if you're doing like additional bodybuilding. It's kind of like accessory work. It's not, like I said, it's not that tough. You can make the weight as light as it needs to be. But I did end up doing probably a little too much of the big movements along with
Mm,
the sprinting, because I was I was pretty strong. I had a good clean, and I could squat quite a bit. And like you guys, we were doing the early morning runs, and then we would go. There was a couple different training times where we'd go hit like I think we probably had 90 minutes for ours. Um, but during those seasons, I'd always, my hips would get kind of tweaked, or
Hmm.
might get a hamstring, or just like this little stuff was popping up. And I I probably could have done a little less. And it's just, in college, I- there's not a lot of I shouldn't say there's not a lot. You don't always have a great strength coach, or like somebody that's that invested in it. And at our school, we had a different strength coach about every year. It depends on who we had staff for the football team that would like when I first got there, our D line coach was doing the workouts. So it just was different every year. It wasn't really like an exercise guy. It was more of just like a football coach that would, go look at what Alabama's doing, and then take some of their movements and then pair it with something that's hard. So that I don't know. I think that's a mistake in a lot of football programs, is make it hard versus make it good. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's easy to make a workout hard, and the stronger a guy is, the more you have to be aware of, how much they're doing. I could
Yeah.
run pretty good, so I'd go do a hard sprint workout in the morning. We'd be doing, clean still failure.
Yeah.
Like
Oh.
we literally had, like, it'd be our last set. So, maybe we're doing 4 by 3, and on the fifth set, it'd be max. They'd
Mm.
have the weights written out, and just where I was pretty good at them, I could sit there and do them forever. So I would get,
Mhm.
like well beyond 3, because, really, if you know about Olympic weightlifting, you'd probably know that you don't usually do more than 3. Like till failure is kind of a goofy thing. Like reps till failure is kind of a
Right.
goofy thing for weightlifting. But anyways, I'd get to a point where I was doing so many, I'd just like pretend my grip just blew off the bar, because I was like
Hmm.
touching going like these huge weights.
Yeah.
So I mean, anyways,
What
not
was your
trying
clean
to
back then?
my best in college. So I guess my freshman year was the first time I broke 300. I think I made it to 315.
Nice. Wow.
And then by the time I'd graduated, I'd done 365 in the weight room in college. So um,
Did you realize that, all right, there might be something to this?
I love doing them, because for one, I was good at them. The other thing was my freshman year, a guy broke the clean record for
Mhm.
the football team. I think he hit like 350 or 355. So I knew I was close, and I was young. And this guy was huge, and he was a senior or whatever. He did that big weight. I was like, I could probably do that in a year or two. So that kind of lit that fire in me to like figure out how to clean more and work on it. So I had a little bit of like a reason to get good and to clean, because I knew I was close. I thought I could get this record, which I ended up, I think my junior year, I ended up getting it. But anyways, I thought I was really strong in cleans, and then I got exposed to Olympic weightlifting for the first time.
Uh,
And the guy I was hanging out with showed me the girls, all the girls that could do more than I could, and they could
no.
also
Oh.
jerk it. So I was like, oh, people are crazy. That was kind
Yeah.
of when I realized that there's some like if you try something, you can make your body do like crazy stuff. If you just like focus on one thing, if you specialize, you can really like learn how to do crazy things. But you see it in every sport, like a lot of people have gone out and hit a golf ball, but when you watch them on TV do it, they hit it down the middle, 350 yards. I mean, they just like can crush a driver. But anybody that's just grabbed one and tried to hit a ball knows it's hard to hit it straight or
Mhm.
even hit it. Like
Mhm.
it's easy enough to whiff it, and these guys just every time just like stroke this ball. So I mean, just anything, any sport, like humans have figured out a way to perfect these things. And all you have to do is kind of put your head down and focus on one thing, and you can really excel and about anything you want to do.
Yeah. So you were playing soccer, baseball, and football. What made you continue with football in college?
So I played baseball in the middle school, and I hadn't started playing football yet, but I was playing a lot of soccer. I was on like a competitive team, so we'd
Mhm.
travel, to other states and do tournaments. And um I did enjoy baseball, but I just felt like I liked soccer better at that point. I wish I'd stayed with it a little longer, but that's when I quit baseball. I did soccer year round, so we'd have indoor league in the winter, and then competitive would be in the spring and fall. So I did that through middle school, freshman year of high school, and then when I was a sophomore, I went out for football, and football's a it's a there's a lot to learn in football, like
Hmm.
for instance, the plays, much less the positions, the responsibilities. Like it's just it was a lot to unpack. But after I started, they eventually moved me to running back, and that just kind of clicked for me. So once I started running the ball, like I like fell in love with football,
Mm.
and ended up being a really good player in high school, and had a lot of success with it. And I loved scoring touchdowns. I loved like the attention I got when I
Mhm.
had good games, because the whole town comes out to them, and all my dad's buddies, everybody at church. Like, I mean, after the game, I kept getting told how good I played and stuff. Like it was
Mm.
just a very rewarding experience, and I just loved doing it. So I decided to pursue that in college, and instead of soccer. And the other big thing, which I probably not said this a lot, but I wanted to look like a football player and not a
Yeah.
soccer player.
Yeah.
And I kind of forgot that until just now. But yeah, in my mind, I was like, if I play soccer, I'm going to be a skinny guy in college, and won't get to work out that much. I have to run like a lot of long distance stuff. But
Yeah.
if I play football, I'm gonna look like a freak, like all those other guys you see on TV.
Yeah.
So that was also a pretty stupid motivating factor. But I mean, I love football.
Mm.
I mean, and you played, so you know how addicting that game is. And
Sure.
like going through it with your team in the off season, and then getting to play, and the wins and the close wins and close. I mean, it's a really, I mean, it's a great game. I don't know. I think everybody should at least experience it, at the high school level.
Mm. So with right now you're wearing a cast, and that kind of brings us into the injuries in football. I mean, they're rather prevalent. How was your career when it comes to injuries? I mean, playing running back, you pretty pretty prone to collision, right? And your head too.
Yeah, I didn't. I had a pretty healthy football career. The only thing, and this kind of goes along with the poor training and not really having very good guidance in my off-season stuff. I had a nagging growing injury, and basically it was just like a overuse, um, imbalance. And essentially, as soon as I'd get like 2 weeks into a tough camp, my groin would tighten up. I wouldn't be able to sprint worth a flip, and I'd really need to like cut down on how much I was doing in
Mm.
order to be able to practice. Which that kind of that ended up being tough, because in high school I was a very healthy athlete. I didn't have a lot of issues. But really the only real injuries I ever had in football, I broke a few ribs, and a deep thigh bruise or two, which
Mm.
sounds like nothing, but a thigh contusion is actually pretty terrible. I don't. Did
Yeah.
you ever have one?
Yeah, on the side, not from a tackle, but landing.
Yeah.
Yeah, landing very poorly, just on my entire weight on there. Yeah, that takes a long
It's
time to
weird.
heal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean those things, like you hear like deep thigh bruise, like, oh, deep bruise, whatever, that's nothing. But for whatever reason, when you get it on your quad, it's like it shuts it down.
Hmm.
And like right after you get one, like it might continue to get worse because it gets tight. So you
Hmm.
can almost finish a game or a practice with one
Hmm.
sometimes, and then it'll just lock up on you when you get home and you stop using it. But anyways, if you ever have a buddy with one, don't give them too hard a time, because those things suck.
What were the greatest lessons of learning through playing football? Biggest
um
takeaways.
yeah, I think the best thing you learn from football is the delayed gratification.
Hmm.
So and I think that maybe they don't really learn this lesson so much anymore because there's a lot of forces trying to make the off season a little easier. And maybe, that's good. Maybe it's not. It's hard to know. But anyways, in football, you have one in season, right? It's 10 games, maybe a few more if you're lucky, and make playoffs. But after that, you don't play the game anymore. So it's not like soccer or basketball, baseball, where you can play the game. In football, you can't have contact football year round. It's not good for you. So
Hmm.
all football athletes spend the whole off season training. They'll get they'll get a spring camp. So you get to play a little football during spring
Hmm.
camp. But even, any football player tell you practice is not fun either. Practice isn't like a game. So
Hmm.
you play football for all year because you're training all year, you're doing spring practice, but you only really get to have a great time with it 10, 11, 12 times a year. How long is a game? 15-minute quarters. I think they're even less in high school. So, basically you get 10, 11 hours a year where you're really having fun with the sport. And the rest of the time, you're just working your ass off, trying to get ready for that season so you can enjoy it. So you really learn, how important it is to grind in an off season and how important it is to do the work and then reap the benefits. And that lesson is, repeated in everything in life. If you can learn that if you work hard, you will reap a reward. I mean, you can carry that with you into literally anything you do.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So that eventually, so football turned to Olympic weightlifting. How did that transition happen?
Um, so in school, I studied I studied pre-med for a big majority of school because I'm gonna snitch on my mom a little bit, but she told me I should be a doctor since I was a little kid,
Uh,
and I sort of got a brainwash. I was like convinced, like, yeah, it'll be good. I'll make lots of money, and I'll be
uh,
smart. I could do this. So, anyways, I don't know, anyone that's tried to do the pre-med field knows you have to be pretty committed to it.
hmm,
So I needed like my weight room commitment to pre-med
mhm,
that I just didn't have. So anyways, I think when I stopped doing it, I had just finished organic too. I had a few C's on the old resume there, and I was
mhm.
like, "What am I doing this for? I don't want to be a doctor." And like for me, the doctor's office, the hospital is my least favorite place on the planet.
Ooh.
Like I'll literally do anything to not have to go to the doctor. Like I'll suffer through the worst cold to not
Uh,
have to go see a doctor.
yeah.
But I'm lucky I kind of figured this out, but I realized that I shouldn't do something that I don't want to do for the rest of my life. Why work so hard in these subjects that I don't care about to do a job I don't want to do? And on top of that, you're signing up for 5 more years of school. Um, so anyways, I had all these science classes. I decided to pivot and do physical therapy. So I studied kinesiology my last year and a half, and obviously the class load was much easier, and it
Mm,
was also stuff I was interested in. So I got to take like a nutrition class, which I really enjoyed.
mm,
I got to do, I can't even remember the name of them, but these ones where you would learn about exercise and programming, which those were, I'd been making up my own workout since I was 12. So it wasn't so enlightening, but it was
mhm.
fun.
Yeah.
I did enjoy being in those classes, and they just came naturally to me, which that's when I kind of realized that there's things you can study that you enjoy, and then studying's not hard anymore. Like you want to study, I wanted to learn nutrition and
Yeah.
took like a sports psychology class. Like I wanted to learn sports psychology.
Sure.
Um, so once I realized that that really should be everybody's goal to, like find something that fulfills you that you're happy doing. I just kind of doubled down on that. So I'm chasing this pre-physical therapy degree in kinesiology or whatever. And I graduate. I can't remember what test you have to take to get into grad school. I take it and do fine on it. And I'm just kind of thinking, like, do I really want to do physical therapy? Because I've done a little bit of shadowing. I've probably spent like 20 or so like hours volunteering in these different places, and they're just like a doctor's office with some exercise equipment. Like it kind of just felt like the same thing. And I realized that wasn't a passion either. So I take the money I'd saved up from my college scholarship, like I'd get like some refund checks or
Mm,
whatever. I was a good saver, so I had a little savings, and I invested in some gym equipment,
mm,
and I started a little gym. And I I knew a guy out here that had a big warehouse, and I he leased me like 2,000 square foot out of the back of it to start my gym. And I'm sure some people probably have seen the videos, but I'm working out in like a turfed like batting cage facility. That's just way back, 4 or 5 years ago. And that's
uh-huh.
what it was. That was my gym I started. And that was fulfilling, and I got to train full time. And I was doing like a kind of like a mix of CrossFit, but mostly weightlifting because that's really what I enjoyed and
Yeah.
cared about. And then I kind of just got to thinking, I was familiar. I knew that weightlifting nationals and weightlifting American Open, like I knew that these meets existed, but I didn't
Hmm.
know like what it took to qualify or anything. So I just do a quick Google, see what the qualifying totals are. Signed up for the Muscle Driver Open
Hmm.
in where were they? North Carolina or South Carolina? I always forget which Carolina, but anyway, sign up for them. It's like a 2.5, 3 hour drive, and go out there and get qualified for American Open. And that's kind of how it started.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
It's
was I
pretty
was
casual.
exposed. Yeah, I mean, just hanging out in the gym, and all of a sudden you're gonna go get qualified for these competitions. But like I said,
Not a big deal. Yeah.
I was doing
Okay.
CrossFit, and I would always add in like hours extra of weightlifting work, just because that's what I actually like doing, was lifting weights and being a strong guy. So um that's kind of what I was really doing. I was just would do like a get out of breath a couple times a week. But I got exposed to weightlifting training for I was trying to keep playing football. And I was training for there was like a pay to play NFL combine that they hosted. So I was
Hmm.
training for that at this gym that I was also doing my internship class for my kinesiology major at. So it's a CrossFit gym out here,
Hmm.
CrossFit Knoxville. So they gave me like a little job, and I was an intern or whatever. And they had a weightlifting team, and I loved working out with those guys because on Saturdays they do their heavy session. And there's this little weightlifting coach they had. His name's Mike, but he actually lifted in the Olympics in Atlanta for Lebanon, and he was their weightlifting coach. But anyways, he would bring a bunch of Mediterranean food for after weightlifting
Nice.
too. So it was like they had like a cool little environment, and that was where I got introduced to it. So that's how I knew that these things like nationals existed, and that there was like a weightlifting sport.
I
But
mean, that's a pretty big gym too. You're not connected to Rich Froning in any way, are you?
I got my CrossFit level 1 at his gym.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. There we
But
go.
no, I'm not. I don't know. I've never met Rich or anything.
Okay. Yeah.
I know. So he's actually got a cousin that lives here in Knoxville
Mm,
that's opened a gym that lifts or that competes with him on his team CrossFit team. I think they actually just won the games, but his name's Chase, and it just literally like I could walk to his gym from my house out here. But yeah, I think he's I don't know, his somehow I think someone in his family is married to Rich, or someone in Rich's family. They know each other close, and he's got a pretty cool gym out here as well. But
nice.
yeah, never
So
met him or anything.
that's where it really started taking off. You sign up for these competitions, and then you like what happened at these competitions? Like, did you start like being top three? What really sparked the fire for you to go all in?
So at the I signed up for the Muscle Driver Open, and I wasn't not a good. I wasn't a good weightlifter. I was just a strong guy. I'd only been training weightlifting for probably like a month at the time I went to the muscle driver meet. I was a big James Tatum fan, and he was on the muscle driver team,
Mm,
and he could snatch more than me at the time, and he
mm,
was obviously much smaller. Had the good beard going, but anyways, I go out there, and I had a all right day. I can't remember what I even made, but I was wearing like some like shorter like exercise shorts, like something I'd wear to football.
yeah,
It was back when the fitted like Under Armour shirts were cool.
yeah.
All the football guys wear their Under Armour. So I had my fitted Under Armour shirt on and some short shorts, and then I had like some like athletic socks on in my
Mm,
lifters.
yeah,
And it's
sure.
like the most embarrassing video. I have one on I have it on my phone, but yeah, I don't know. I just, like I said, I didn't even have a single. I just signed up for this meet. I checked the box that I want to try out for muscle driver, show up like dressed up like a like a moron.
Uh,
Only one without a singlet. But I think I went 2 for 3 in the snatch and 2 for 3 in the clean and jerk. Probably some pressing out going on, and I think I might have made the biggest clean of the day,
hmm,
even out of all their supers. I can't remember. I might have attempted 195 for PR or 190. I don't know, but yeah, I don't think their guys were like tapered, or they weren't taking it that serious. But I ended
hmm,
up doing a pretty big clean and missing the jerk.
hmm,
Um, but anyway, so at that point, I think I qualified by like 10 kilos. So
hmm,
like a C session guy.
hmm.
Um, and then that was in the fall. So I think American Open was maybe in like November, like late November. So between that meet and the American Open, I had gotten significantly better because I was only doing weightlifting. So I was hitting like PRs all the time, getting more comfortable with the lifts.
Hmm.
And I emailed Phil Andrews like, hey, I've hit these numbers in training. I'm gonna be, like well over the top of the C session where I've qualified for this meet. Do you think I can get into the A? And he says, yeah, I'll move you up. So he moves me into the A session. And with the total, my entry total, it put me like towards the bottom of the A session. I'm like, this is dope. It's my first meet. I
Yeah.
made it into the A session. Like I'm gonna lift with the badass dudes,
Hmm.
this is gonna be cool. So anyways, from that moment until the meet, I get even a little better than that. So I show up to the meet and end up, lifting with it was the first time I met Donovan Ford. And he's an awesome guy if you know him or have ever talked to him. But he gave me some thumb tape. I don't even know that I'm talking to a guy that's been in the sport for his whole life. I have no idea who anybody is. I'm
Yeah.
just, being friends with Donovan, and he's being nice to me, like whatever. But I end up lifting with all these amazing 105s because the 105s were deep at the time, and I placed fourth. It just like,
Nice.
yeah, I was like, well, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Just
Uh,
kind of do this for the first time, and the three guys that beat me were all, they were all studs. So
mhm,
I had no business like competing with them yet, and I didn't challenge for the medal spots really,
mhm.
but still, I showed up in my first one and made some lifts and placed fourth. And then between that meet and nationals, I'm still training weightlifting. I try out for the grid league. I don't know if you're familiar with
I'm
that,
not.
but I think some guys high up in CrossFit wanted to make a team CrossFit league, ended up splitting off and starting the National Grid League. I don't even remember what it's called, but they'd done it for a few seasons, and this was their, I think, the second or third season. But their first season, they had all the big name CrossFitters in because
Mhm.
they're paying like a guaranteed check to do the league, and
Yeah.
so all everybody
Oh
showed
yeah.
up.
Actually, I do. Yeah, I do remember this. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, the first meet was at Madison Square Garden.
Mm,
Um,
yes.
but So I tried out for Grid League, ended up getting drafted by the New York Rhinos, which
Uh-huh.
was Annie Thor's daughter's, I guess, boyfriend. They live together. It's kind of different. Well, it's different in Iceland,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
You
In
guys kind of have a different
Scandinavia. Yeah.
thing.
Nordics. Yeah.
Scandinavia,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You kind of like date and it gets serious, and then like weddings, kind of like on down the road. But you're
If it
kind
even
of
happens. There's not that many
right.
people that do get married here in Sweden,
Really?
for example. Yeah. Yeah. It's just
Okay.
like, yeah, we're in a committed relationship. You're
Right.
my partner, or it's a word that you call sambo here, but you live together. And
Right.
that's a serious relationship. Yeah.
Right. So
That's like marriage.
they were at that point, not
Yeah.
married, but anyways, so Annie Thor's daughter was around the team all the time. I got to meet her, which that was really cool for me. And I had some cool people on my team, and that was really fun for me because it was like football again.
Sure.
I could be the strong guy on the team. I had my position where I'd lift like the heavy weights and get out of breath. Everybody'd make fun of me because my cardio wasn't good, and then I'd make fun of them for being weak. So it was like a fun thing. Anyways, between my first American Open, my first nationals, I do Grit League, and or I guess I tried out. We didn't have the season until right after nationals. So try out for Grid League, make a team, go to nationals, fourth again. And this nationals was actually a world championships qualifier.
Hmm.
So I needed to, I guess I needed to get in the top three in order to be eligible to go to like it was like junior nationals or something, university nationals, and try out for the world team because the 105s were super tight. And anyway, Spencer Mormon, he had missed his first two clean and jerks. Then on his third, came out and hit a very studly 108
Hmm.
to grab his medal spot and save his bomb out, and knock me off of the tryout for world's team
Hmm.
list, which I honestly probably didn't have any business going to worlds that early in my career. And I was
Hmm.
just a strong guy. I had some pretty like rough lifts, just not familiar with the barbell that much. So anyways, it was
I
a very, very close, a good opportunity to have a shot at a world's team that, I mean, I don't know if, that happens for a lot of people in their first year of weightlifting.
So when you're doing Grid League, were you training any type of CrossFit as well as Olympic weightlifting, or was it a combination of the two then?
Yeah, so I was with Outlaw with Rudy Nelson at the time. So after my first competition, I did the first American Open. I get hooked up with Rudy at a seminar in Atlanta. And anyways, he like brings me onto his team and starts kind of helping me train for these things. But for the Grid League, I wouldn't do CrossFit because it was like a specialized thing. So I might sprint out, do like 10 deadlifts at 450, and then go back and tag somebody else. So I didn't really need great cardio. I didn't need
Mhm.
to really be an aerobic or gymnastics athlete because they did select me just to go out and do the heavy barbells. So
Yeah.
the things that he would program for me were like very weighty,
Hmm.
like interval type workouts.
Yeah.
So none of them were very aerobic at all, but I did need a little bit of a base just because I was going to have to like sometimes string like 10 in a row and then take a 30 seconds and then, maybe it's 15 cleans and then you go like you kind of do get smoked a little bit. So we did a little bit of like interval training.
So how did you as a team do that year?
Um, I can't even remember. I think we probably played we had four matches and maybe won two, lost two.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And we just pretty all right. And then the next season, I think it was the same result: won two, lost two.
Yeah.
But I mean, still, like I had this roommate that also played college football. His name was Nick Block, and we always got paired together for rooms, and like we're just like the exact same person. He was just a few years older than me, but I mean, like the whole time we'd be on these trips, it'd just be like protein and farts, and I mean, like just just like it was like I said, it was like being on a football team again. Like Nick's was a big musclehead football dude, and we just like liked all the same stuff and argue about, all the same. Just like it was just great. Honestly, I had so much fun doing that. But
Brings me back to just a short memory here when I was doing a road trip from Missouri, Oklahoma to Texas. The whole thing was it Louisiana, Alabama, no, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, up to was it Kentucky was there somewhere, Tennessee, and then back. I mean, it was a long trip, but in that trip, I have always taken pride in eating healthy, and we lived pretty much in this van. It was a road trip, as a spring break trip, and I saw so all these Jack, like, yeah, I had the same thing. I want to look like the Jack football players, of course, and I want to get bigger, stronger, and faster. And what did all these football players eat? They had Campbell's soup, chunky Campbell's soup. So I was pounding those in the van and farting up the damn van too. So that's what it brings back when you're talking about, going heavy protein, doing my protein shakes, many Campbell's soups, chunky Campbell's soup, and not the cleanest, nicest smelling van. But anyway, going back to your story, you were what happened after grid? Or let's so grid lead was going on. Eventually, you did not qualify for Worlds. What was the next step after that?
So after that was when I met Rob Blackwell from California Strength. He was on a grid league team, and he kind of, like, I guess he noticed that I was very strong and pretty explosive, but also didn't know really what I was doing with a barbell. And he thought that I'd be a good fit for Cal Strength. So he kind of introduced himself, asked if I'd be interested in coming out to lift or anything. And I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. So anyways, a few months down the road, talked to Dave, and Dave wants to have me out for a weekend to kind of, see if I like the gym and see if it's something that could work for me. So I go out to Cal Strength and try it out. And during this time, I am with Rudy and Outlaw Barbell, but I'm just being honest with him. I let him know that they approached me, and he knows that, that Cal Strength is it's a huge opportunity, and he was just happy for me. Like it was never like a Cal Strength stole me from Outlaw, or like, like, and this is what I encourage people to do, is to, if you are serious about it, try to improve, your situation. You're probably not with the best team, with the best coach when you start out. And just because this person, introduces you to the sport and gets you to a certain level, doesn't mean that you owe them the rest of your career. And really, if they're great coaches, they're going to be happy for you when you make California Strength weightlifting team. You know what I mean? Like, if someone really cares about you, they're going to want you to train next to the best weightlifters in the country, day in and day out, with the best coaches in the country. And like, I believe that if I was with Cal Strength at that nationals where I placed fourth and didn't get the invite to try out for the world team, I believe that if I was with Cal Strength, Dave would have been able to lobby with USA Weightlifting and push for me to get that tryout. And that, that stuff is important. And you should want that for your athletes. You should want them to be with a coach that has a good rapport with the USA Weightlifting, that has a good team that can push your guys. Don't keep your weightlifter as a remote athlete in a garage somewhere when they could get better with the team and need that. And especially at the level I was at, I'd never seen real weightlifters. I'd never been on a weightlifting team. I didn't even know how to weightlift. And it's like when I went out to try out for Cal Strength, we were doing Max Out Friday. I'd already, Dave gave me, he saw how atrocious my snatch was and gave me like a breakdown of the technique in the morning, and we did a ton of practice with it. But anyways, we get to Max Out Friday, and at about 120 maybe 25 kilos, I start missing snatches. And
Mm-hmm.
this is common, if I miss one behind, I just put some more weight on. I'd miss in front all the time, just do it again. That was like, I was like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. Miss
Mm-hmm.
behind is basically a make. So anyways, I'm missing every other snatch from like 125 up. And I ended up hitting 163 for a PR at that
Uh-huh.
tryout.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I dumped 125 kilos behind. I
Uh,
mean,
hmm.
that's just where I was in my
Yeah.
weightlifting. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was a good athlete and I was strong and explosive. So I'd get these bars up and have no idea, what I'm supposed to be doing. Just
Hmm.
just trying to weightlift. So, anyways, it was ended up being a good showing for me. I demonstrated how little I knew and how strong I was, and so Dave was interested and says, "All right, so next step, you can come out this January." He does a combine, football combine group, every January through March. So, anyways, he has me out for that. I intern as a football coach, which he didn't really make me do anything. He just wanted me out there for weightlifting,
Hmm.
and we start to make a run at the Olympic team.
Hmm.
So it was 2016, and I'm learning how to weight lift, and at the same time trying to set myself up to qualify for the Olympics.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know. A lot of people probably know this, but we were actually very close to qualifying.
Okay.
And again, at this time, I probably have no business being at the Olympics, World Championships, or anywhere near an international platform.
Uh-huh. Dude, please continue. I mean, you have me yeah, at the edge of my seat here. So how does this
All right.
continue?
All right. So I do my last competition with Rudy and Outlaw at the American
Uh-huh.
Open, and this is my third national competition, second American Open. I win gold medal, so I notch out Ethan Herrick, who a beast, at the time. I mean,
Uh-huh.
when he was at the Muscle Driver Open meet that I went and started my weightlifting career at, and he was, a solid 30 or 40 kilos over my
Hmm.
entry total. And I'm
Hmm.
gonna I'm gonna snitch on him. He bombed out at the tryout, but
Uh-huh.
he made the team, and
uh,
rightfully so. He's, like I
yeah.
said, he's a freak, and well beyond anything I could do at the time. But by this next American Open, it'd been a full year. I had moved myself up into a point where we're neck and neck, and I'm challenging him for this medal. And anyways, we have a good battle. I barely notch him out by one, or I think we tied, and I beat him on body weight, and
Hmm.
I got to go out there for a third attempt. Rudy puts on 210, which is a PR clean. I've never even touched it in
Hmm.
training. I think my best was like 205 in training at the time. And I cleaned the absolute shit out of it. And then, like, just like I said, I've got no idea what I'm doing in weightlifting at all, really, at this time. So I pretend like I know how to jerk it, just kind of drive it up and pass it over my head behind.
Sure. Yeah.
So anyways, so
Yeah.
it was a good way to close out my outlaw barbell career with
Yeah.
Rudy. I
Yeah.
gave him that gold medal, and we get to kind of lead the group the whole time. And he was like, "Man, that was like dream shit for me. Like being able to lead the group and jockey these attempts, like that was awesome." And he just was like really appreciative and grateful. And I would same for him, because he did take me from a point where I was just like a football guy that
Hmm.
knew absolutely nothing to where I at least knew uh, position 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
So he gave me, a little bit of a first year foundation that got me, to Cal Strength, and I'm grateful for that. I gave him a gold medal at a national competition. And he was grateful for that, and it was like an awesome experience. And that's
Hmm.
that's what I would tell everyone to look for, is just that kind of like gratitude and appreciation for one another. And, you give this coaching experience they never got, and they can help you get to that next level. But anyways, we'll turn the page, and I start up with Dave at Cal Strength. So the first thing we need to do is we have to go to this. Basically, it was this meet was supposed to be a qualifier for an international meet in Russia, the Kazan President's Cup, I think, in 2016. So we go to this junior nationals, right? And I'm on the Cal Strength team, so I'm training with David McKellar, Rob Blackwell. Scott is still lifting out there at the time. And anyways, I'll tell a funny one on McKellar. This is his last year as a junior for junior nationals. Me and Rob and Jason Starks, all Cal Strength guys, not juniors, just gonna go to this meet to try out for the President's Cup, sign up for the meet, and we're gonna go qualify. I think the week before the meet, USAW decided to just send this President's Cup team, which was Dave as coach, me, Rob, and Jason, the few other people as well. So we didn't actually need the qualifier, but we were signed up. I'd not had a meet with Dave before, so we go and do it anyways. McKellar doesn't submit his sign up in time. Misses the sign up by like an hour. Emails Phil before he tells Dave, begging him to let him like sign up for this meet, and then he has to go tell Davey Clark to sign up. So all of us went to junior nationals and left our junior lifter behind.
Oh, man.
But anyways, so that's a good one on David. But go to this meet, and this is my first meet with Dave. And you know, people might remember this one too, but I went 2 for 6. And I missed my first and second snatch, make my third. And then I come out for clean and jerk.
Yeah.
My first and second clean and jerk, make my third. So I'd get a total. I get my ass chewed out by Dave. And it was my first time I'd gotten in trouble as a weightlifter. So you know, it feels a little bit like football again. You know, you've got expectations and you're expected to perform, and it's, you know, it's serious. I'm getting paid at that time a little bit to be a football intern so I can be a weightlifter for this guy, and I go shit the bed at a meet. So you know, it's kind of like, I don't know, it was our first meet together, and you kind of learn, you know, like this is the real deal, and we're really weightlifting. And you know, I don't know that there's anything I could have done to make more lifts at that meet, but I was kind of being a pussy, like, oh, it feels heavy, like, you know, whiny, like about whatever. So anyways, I don't know, you learn your lessons along the way, and that one I learned to be a tough weightlifter, and you let the scorecard get to me. And if I feel weak, you know, you just leave that shit in the warm-up room, because it don't matter. But anyways, so we do that meet, and we're going to Russia in like a month after that to you need 2 international meets at the time to be eligible for the Olympic team. So one was going to be Olympic trials, the other was going to be this President's Cup in Russia. So we go with the Cal Strength team, Dave is the coach, to Russia. And we land at like, it's like 1:30 a.m. and all of us are lifting the next day. Yeah, so I think we made it to bed by like 3. The girls have the morning sessions, we're in the afternoon, and we wake up and we eat our little breakfast. Me and Ethan Herrick are both lifting in the same session, and we're just like, man, I feel terrible. And he's like, yeah, dude, I feel terrible. And anyways, we're kind of like making a joke out of it, because it is an absolutely terrible situation, you know, to travel that far and land like hours before you weigh in and stuff. But anyways, we go and lift, and I open the snatch at 150. I think Ethan opened low 2, which that wasn't crazy low for me at the time. I think my best was still like one. Well, actually, I might have done like a 68, or maybe attempted a 170 before at that time. Anyways, we open at 50. I make it. So Dave's like, you want to do 60? I was like, yeah, let's do it. Make 60. And then Dave's like, what do you think we should do? You want to try 70?
Yeah.
I feel like shit, but who knows?
Yeah.
So that's where I made my first 170 snatch in a
Wow.
competition. Was just right off the plane at this ridiculous, President's Cup meet, and then on clean and jerks, I missed my opener at like, I don't know, we must have opened at 190 or 195, and it's
Mhm.
to this day, I mean, it's one of the few cleans I've ever missed in a meet. I think one of two cleans I've ever missed in a competition.
Mm.
Uh, and I just racked it and it fell right down. So I really didn't have any legs that day from the travel. But second attempt, I think we redid it or maybe pushed up to 193 and made it. And I did a clean and jerk under 200 at an international competition
Mhm.
that day.
Nice.
Yeah. So another good learning experience, and then we're on the way. We've got our total at our international meet. Now we just need to make sure we get ready for Olympic trials at nationals and do well there. And I ended up winning the Olympic trials pretty like handily. I snatched an American record there, and um, I clean and jerked okay. I think I maybe did 205 or something,
Mm.
and it was enough with the 170 something snatch to really solidify my spot as the top 105 at the time. And I uh, I think the way it shook out, I might have been the second weightlifter on the ranking list at the time, but the Team USA men's team didn't have any spots for the Olympics. So
Mm.
at the time, we had team qualifications. So based on how you do at these international competitions, your weightlifting team gets more or less spots. So you can get
Mm.
up to like 10 spots for men, 10 spots for women. And we had I think that's right. It could be, there might have been less, but anyways, we had 0 for the men. I think we had qualified 3 for the women.
Mm.
So the women had the legitimate Olympic trials, whereas the men were just doing Olympic trials as if we had a Olympic team that we could send.
Yeah.
Um, so
So
what it
so to place to get a timeline in here. So you start. So it's 2000 and what year you started at Cal Strength?
16,
16. Yeah. And then Russia was what year?
2016.
Okay. All
So
right.
this is so I moved out to California 2016, January, the beginning of 2016, and it's the Olympic year. So
Yeah.
basically we have until August to get qualified for the
Yeah.
Olympics,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that ended up being the goal. So
I
on
see.
this timeline, we do the Philadelphia qualifier for Kazan Cup, go to Russia, hit the good decent total there, my first 170, and then we have a break, and then we have Olympic trials at senior nationals.
Mm. Mm.
So that'd be my third meet of the year, and that was in like probably in April or May.
I see.
And so since the guys didn't have any spots, basically what we were doing was trying out for the Pan Am team, so we could go to Pan Am's in, I believe, Colombia, and earn some spots for the Team USA Olympic team.
Mm.
So basically, that second place overall, first in the 105s, only got me a ticket to Pan Am's,
Mm.
and then at Pan Am's we had to earn maybe up to 2 spots for our Olympic team.
Mm.
So anyways, we go down to Pan Am's before I even get off the plane. We had a lifter bomb out, and then we had one that got hurt or is ineligible. Something happened, so we already had 2 scratches on our team qualification. So if everyone else didn't total, we wouldn't send a single weightlifter to the Olympics. So it
Mm.
was already essentially impossible to send 2. So anyways, everybody else that's going ends up opening really low and being conservative, making sure we get our total in and we get this spot. And at the time, Kendrick Ferris is still weightlifting. He's, hands down the best. The dude was dominant for almost 2 decades, or maybe actually 2 decades, but I mean, badass dude.
Yeah.
And all really nice guy as well. Like we were roommates at this Pan Am's, and I'd never met him before, and this felt like a huge deal to me because I've been in the sport for 2 years and
Mm.
rooming with Kendrick. But anyways, we hit it off really good, and I just really enjoyed how, nice and just mellow, respectful. Like, he's a great dude. But anyways, so at the time we're basically all trying to make sure we total so we can get this spot for Kendrick. So we all total. I had a pretty shitty day. I missed my, like I said, we're doing like a conservative snatch opener. I think we opened it like 50, 55, so in the 50s to make sure we get one in. And I missed it. Dave was pissed. And at that time, like, that was a really easy snatch at the time for me. But I mean, honestly, all the meets and the training, this was my 4th meet of the year, and we're only in like probably June or July. It was a lot of competing and a lot of heavy training. I'd gotten a lot better, so the weights were getting heavier, and I'd beat myself down pretty good. So yeah, my shoulder was a little jacked up, but anyways, I missed the opener, which made it impossible for me to even like contend for any kind of reasonable ranking, because I had to get that total so we could at least get one guy to the Olympics. So we repeat, make it, come away with a pretty bad snatch and not a great clean and jerk day. And anyways, it was like a good first year of professional weightlifting. I got to battle for these spots. I got to see what it was like to beat these guys, and see what it's like to feel hurt and to do too much and to really like push and grind. And it being that close, in my first 2 years of weightlifting, I was like, okay, I can do this. And the next time around, there's not going to be any way I don't make the Olympics. I'm going to make sure I do everything to go. And I just committed to that journey, and made it happen. And I was a very solid candidate the whole way through. It was never really a question, honestly. So it was a pretty I mean, I don't know, just something I put my mind to and made it happen.
So the next 4, or actually 5 years with Corona, right? So how would you summarize those years? What stand out to you about that time?
I mean, honestly, the first thing I needed to do was become the best in the Pan Am region and start beating those guys. And the first time I went to Pan Am's, like I said, my shoulder was a little jacked up. We're not really competing because we have to get these openers in to make sure Kendrick gets his Olympic spot. So we're lifting for Team USA at that meet. But this next time, we're in Florida, and I got to actually contend for a gold medal. It was time for me to step up and win. And basically, I snatched a 3 for 3. I did another American record and hit as much as I needed to set myself up to win this competition. We get to clean and jerks, and I get 2 tries to take the gold medal. And the first time I got lightheaded, and I don't think I like drove it, but I didn't really punch into it at all. I just kind of like, I might have even dumped it because I was going to pass out. But anyways, I didn't really get to go for it. And then on the second attempt to win the gold medal in the total, I passed out completely. And basically it was just me not being a great weightlifter. I was strong, and I relied solely on my strength and my power to make sure the clean was easy. So I just destroy this clean. It crashes on me from, well above where it should. And all that pressure just kind of collapses you and just cuts it off. So I stand up. I know I'm lightheaded, but I'm going to try this jerk to make it. And then wake up on the floor. And I'm a silver medalist.
Holy shit.
So,
okay.
We go to the back room. Dave chews me out for coming up short, which, again, well deserved. I get 2 tries to be a Pan Am champion, and fuck that up. Like, you gotta take your licks after that. So I kind of get motivated to fix my jerk, be a more technical lifter in the clean, stop relying on my my power, and just kind of set me on a new course to fix my jerk and to just be a better weightlifter altogether. And then
Mm,
from that point on, I didn't lose the Pan Ams through the Olympics. So
nice.
except for the one I didn't really lift at, I don't know, the one right before the Olympics we had to go to make sure we qualified. So I did like 160 and 190 or something. But
Mm.
anyways, didn't lose the Pan Ams I wanted to win from that point on.
So what how would you describe training at Cal Strength, and what makes Dave Spitz so unique in his coaching style?
I mean, training at Cal Strength it's tough. It's professional weightlifting, and you've got to be fully committed. You've got to, you can't have issues with your finances. You can't have problems outside the gym because you're expected to be there, all day, most days, and you're training at least 13 sessions a week.
Hmm. Wow.
13. Uh, uh, 9 to 13. So you're training 9 to 13 sessions a week, depending on the cycle. And it's hard, you're expected to make lifts when you're training. You're not getting days off because you're sore or tired or you're beat up. Everything is I mean, you're in the NFL weightlifting. Like, you got to go
Mhm.
to practice and you got to
Yeah.
take care of yourself. And you can't it's just not it's not for fun anymore. It's
Mhm.
not just like it's not a casual thing at that point. It's
Mm.
just real expectations, and there's people around you that expect you to be there, expect you to perform, and you're on a real schedule. You have a real program. You've got a just real expectations, and that's really important, to have expectations if you're gonna excel. Because if you're just kind of doing whatever, you can always change a program, skip a lift, um, not fix your technique, not address an imbalance. But when people expect things of you, you get all those things on point, because you don't
Mm.
want to let your coach down, you don't let your team down, you don't want to be embarrassed to practice. Like,
Mm.
there's just a lot to it once it's not just you by yourself, or
Yeah.
you're not the biggest fish in the pond. Like, when you've got a coach that is a big deal, like, you don't really, you don't feel like such a big guy anymore.
Yeah. So what was it like, the Olympic experience, finally getting there to Tokyo? What was that like?
um the Olympics experience was it was a lot different than I would have anticipated. Just as far as like training for a competition and being prepared and getting ready for this thing, it was more difficult than anything I've ever done, uh,
Mm.
ever. And I've played sports my whole life, and it's never been, I get nervous for games because I want to do well. I don't want to, let my team down. I want to always be at the top of my game. So I've always been, kind of a nervous player, but I know how to channel it because it's been my whole life.
Mm.
Um, when there's only one opportunity and it only comes around every 4 years, it's not as easy. It's
Yeah.
just, it's hard to sleep at night. I was dealing with a little more pain than I'd ever really had in my weightlifting career as well. I've always been a pretty healthy weightlifter. I was getting knee issues, my cyst came back. So these things were just adding to the level of stress that already goes along with, you might never do this again.
Mm.
So it it's terrifying, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to the Olympics and fail. You don't want to bomb out, you don't want to have a bad day. But after I got there and got in the training hall, it felt good and it was exciting. And getting in the competition, once I got in the back room, it was so much fun.
Mm.
And just lifting there and getting a total, and you know it just was awesome. Everything was just so rewarding, just being able to be in those facilities in Tokyo, and to be able to do that, it was just it was really an honor. But again, it was very hard and very stressful, and my mind and body definitely took a toll.
Yeah.
But I mean, 100% worth it, no
Yeah.
doubt.
What's next for you now? You're now in Knoxville and life is a little different.
Yeah, so right now I'm just making my way through an off season. Like I said, the mind and body took a beating. You know,
Yeah.
it was a tough ride. So I've taken some time off, but I probably it's been a few weeks. I started exercising again. Like I told you, I'm like hitting my buddies up. I
Mhm.
got a few friends that work out early in the morning before they go to work, and they're just doing like bodybuilding. I'll go with them. I've got another buddy that does some CrossFit that absolutely just like smokes me aerobically, and I'll
Yeah.
go meet him. I've got another guy that he's got some athletes, a little gym down the street from my house, and go there. I'll do some squats, you know, but I'm just having fun with it right now, and exercising when I want to.
Mm.
'Cause I don't really have I don't have anything I don't have to be ready for anything right now. And I'm trying to, you know, get settled into the new house and make sure you know, I'm being, you know, a part of the family and getting around you know, everybody I've not seen for 5 years because I was in California. So I'm just kind of like, you know, replanting my roots out here and getting ready for another 3 year push at a hopefully a second Olympics. But
Mm.
again, there, you know, we need to know the qualifications for this next one. The weight class apparently is going to
Mhm.
change, so
Mm.
we're looking at maybe being a little lighter this go around.
Mm.
So I'm just kind of waiting, you know, for the IWF to figure out their stuff while I'm over here figuring out what I want to do, you know, where I want to train and what I want to do for it. But I'm thinking of maybe doing a little facility for myself and letting
Mm.
my buddies come there and work out with me, let my family work out with me, and doing more of like a private thing, because I don't want to worry about running a gym while I'm trying to do my training for the Olympics. I want, you know, if I'm doing the Olympics, that needs to be, you know, up there on the priority list. I
Sure.
need to treat that like a job. So I don't want to have a second job in managing a facility. So
Right.
I'm thinking I'll just have like something fun for me and my buddies to hang out in and train in, and you know, I'll invite lifters out and uh I don't know, maybe work on some sort of creative media that comes out from, you know, this building and these experiences. And I'm still with Dave and Cal Strength, and he's going to coach me when I start lifting again, and he's actually telling me to do a little less than I want to do right now. So
Mm.
I'm ready for war a little before he is. So that's a good
Yeah.
spot to be in. You know,
Yeah.
I'm kind of itching, so it feels good to want to train again and to feel like healthy again. You know, I mean, after the Olympics, you know, right when I get home, like going up and down stairs in the house, like I have to do one at a time, and I'm like sideways. You know, like
Mm.
my
Mm.
knees are just like wrecked, and like things like sitting down, standing up, I've just gotten used to them being so hard
Huh.
that you know, I forgot what it was supposed to feel like. And now, you know, I'm zipping up and down the stairs. I'm doing lunges and these like exercises I hadn't even like thought about touching for a long time because my
Yeah.
knees were so achy. I'd stand right up off the toilet or the couch. Like life's good again, man.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I'm just happy. You know, I'm happy to be home. Like I said, my son's got three great grandmas within a few miles of our house, and
Yeah.
seeing everybody, all my friends again, you know, on the regular basis.
Yeah.
Going out and sucking at golf every now and then, or you know, doing a little CrossFit, sucking at that, just doing, you know, just doing more and kind of enjoying life a little bit, not being so single-minded for a little while. I feel like
Yeah.
it's been good for me, and it's important, you know, when you like I said, after I fell short in 2016, I told you it was, you know, like there's no way I wasn't going to make it in 2020. It
Mm.
was like
Mm.
it just wasn't an option. And, I did everything I could to make sure it happened. And, now I feel like I'm in a good place. I know what it takes to get there. I have all the skills and the strength to do it. And I'd like to do it with a little more balanced lifestyle this time
Yeah.
around. So, being a dad and a friend and a husband, having my family, like all that stuff, just
Mm.
moving it up the list and making sure I'm, fulfilled in more than just the weightlifting realm.
Right. So to wrap it up, a few rapid fire questions. What music do you prefer to work out to?
I'd say the majority of the music I listen to is country music, but
Uh-huh.
I like a little bit of everything. So I'll listen to I like Audio Slave a lot. So I'll throw on like an Audio Slave radio, let it chill on Spotify for a little bit. But on my heavy sessions, I mostly listen to like rap music too.
Mm.
So, but I don't do that all the time, because if you're going 110% in the
Yep.
music and the intensity always, you kind of get burnt out. So
Yep.
I
Yep.
like to save it for the harder stuff.
What country are we talking about? Names.
Uh, so I've always been an Eric Church guy, even though his new stuff's not my favorite. Let's see, I like Morgan Wallen is a Knoxville guy. I like him pretty good. And my Coulter Wall is one right now I really like.
Mm.
There's this redhead guy. I forgot his name, but I used to rock his radio all the time. Let me look real quick. I'm a music guy. You know what I'm talking about by chance?
No, I don't.
He's red hair. He sings real good. Let's see. Playlist country. Luke Combs is one of my favorites right now.
Yeah.
Tyler Childers.
Mm.
Yeah, Morgan King turned me on to him, but he's been a big favorite of mine as well. But I mean, I'm not very picky when it comes to music. So I mean, Hardy is another one of my favorites. So I listen to a little bit of everybody, but
Okay.
yeah, I kind of go through my phases. But
Yeah.
the rap music I listen to is more intense. I like Rick Ross a lot. I like Lil Wayne's my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
Let's see who else I got on here. That's country music. Yeah. Anyways,
We
I
can
mean,
yeah, I think we get the drift. So what when it comes to
yeah,
sleep, what do you average when it comes to sleep? Is it consistent? Waking up same
no.
time? No? Okay.
If So when I'm farther out from a competition, I actually set the alarm. I go do my morning training when it starts. I do my evening training when it starts, and I just get as much as I can. Usually I probably need at least 9 to feel pretty good.
Mhm.
But like I said, if there's not a meet anywhere nearby, if I happen to go to bed late or don't sleep good or just need to wake up early, I just do it. But as the meet gets closer, I don't set an alarm anymore. So, I'll be beat up, way more because we're doing more weight.
Mhm.
Um, Try to get in bed at 9:30, and then I'll just wake up when I wake up. So sometimes it's 10 hours, 10 and a half, 11. I'll get a lot of sleep
Mhm.
when a meet starts getting close.
Yep.
And you just you need it when you're
Yeah,
weightlifting, like it beats you down. So
for sure.
yeah, when performance is your goal, you probably should get as much as you can,
Yeah. When it comes to food, what does that look like? What do you eat? How many meals? Is it consistent every day?
um so I I always eat at least 3 meals, and I usually have some snacks, especially if I'm in a routine. If I'm
Uh-huh.
not in a routine, I'm not hard on myself, because just when you're training full time and you're eating and everything is basically your job. Every meal is your job. Like it's your job to get enough rest. Like everything in your life, you don't get away from work really.
Yeah.
So when I'm off, I'll eat. I'm still pretty consistent. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, but I'm not on like protein shakes. I'm not eating strict snacks. If I want to go out to eat, I will. But if I'm like in the gym doing my job, it's more like 3 big meals, a snack, and then some shakes and stuff as well. But I've been kind of toying around with this like a more protein based diet, so
Mhm.
not necessarily like a fully carnivore, but like getting a bigger variety of meats and
Mhm.
trying to eat some organ meat, doing some marrows, more seafood, like getting a
Nice.
better mix of meat in, and relying less on carbohydrates and the cheap energy sources
Sure.
for fuel. So I'm just playing with that right now, trying to get back in the habit of being on a diet and like kind of monitoring my food a little bit. Um, but I don't know. Once I get back into training, I have to make sure that that's a good fit
Yeah.
for training, because it is a little bit higher demand in the kitchen. You can't just pack up your steak and rice and head
Sure.
to the gym when you're doing that. So I'll have to see, how it all shakes out.
Yeah. What spiritual mindset or faith practices do you have in place?
I don't do I don't really do like a meditation. I
Mhm.
don't I do when I get closer to a competition, I will do some visualization work. So I'll see
Mhm.
myself on the platform, see myself weightlifting. Apparently there is a lot of good results that you can get out of like a meditation routine. So I do want to look at it. I actually just got a book about it
Okay.
that
Right.
so
Nice.
I am working on
Okay. Awesome.
it. But yeah, I don't have nothing that I'm really like consistent with.
Okay. And for those who are listening, if you read out the title of that book.
uh Find your focus, peak your attention. Okay, here we go. It's just called Peak Mind. I was
Okay.
reading the little sub things. Peak Mind
Okay.
is I'm a big Joe Rogan fan.
Yeah. There we go. All
I,
right.
I listen to a lot of Rogan. So he had this lady on that was basically talking about, I mean, essentially like the how polluted our minds are getting with,
Sure.
our ability to entertain ourselves all day long
Yep.
on our
Yep.
phones.
Yep.
So it's basically about a 12 minutes a day meditation, or
Nice.
just mental work to kind of help get away from that. So I hadn't started the book yet, but it's on the list of things to do.
Okay. Wes, that is, I think, a good way of yeah, wrapping up. So thank you for coming on, telling us about your journey, how you went about it. And I mean, the biggest thing that comes to me, everything seems rather casual. Hey, big strong dude. I like to lift weights. And yeah, I just do it. And then eventually it got a little serious. And now it's like, oh, I enjoy not being able to be in pain just sitting down. I mean, I think those are things that stand out. But that's through and through. When I speak to more and more some athletes, top level athletes, Olympians, sometimes, and you seem to be more in that direction too. You're very casual about your approach. You love what you do, but it's not like you won't have a nervous breakdown. Like it's like, all right, I want to enjoy life too. Like it
Yeah.
matters that you have fun and like your priorities. So I think going deep down that mindset route and making everything hyper serious, I think keep with your casual mindset, because I think that's going to take you far. I mean, if you love what you do, enjoy life and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are increments that you can gain by adding those practices, but I think you've gone plenty far and you got a big fan here in your corner, and freaking man, I'm rooting you on. So way to get after it,
I
Wes. And thanks for
appreciate it,
today.
man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah. If you haven't checked out Wes and what he can actually lift, check out some of his videos. The dude is freaking nuts. Like, that's a lot of weight. So, mad respect for him being able to come on the show, tell his story, but being able to do what he does and being so close to the ground, just humble, still hungry to get after it, and being a family man. So I truly appreciate you for tuning in. I appreciate Wes for connecting and sharing his story. And if you find this message to be helpful, if you think this is an awesome show episode, please, I ask you this one small favor. If you're on Apple, scroll down, hit 5 stars, leave a review even. It takes you, what, 30 seconds at most? 5 stars takes you 5 seconds. If you're on another platform, please hit subscribe or like. This really helps us spread the message to more people. This is really for the community. So I appreciate you tuning in, and the good deed of the day and a favor. And I'm sending you so much love.